Hello. Now today, I want to talk to you about spiritual energy. I was on a podcast. I got interviewed on a podcast by a psychic, and we were talking about spiritual energy. And she heard me speak, and she really liked the way I think of spirituality and the way she was, interestingly enough, was raised as a Catholic and had some really weird views. Well, not weird views, I shouldn't say, apologies to the Catholics, not weird, but she was taught a whole lot of stuff that didn't feel true for her. And then she had to work that out. And I'm really grateful. I was raised by a Presbyterian mother and an atheist father. And so my mother kind of talked to me about religion and stuff really lightly, and I went to Sunday school and all that shit, got a badge, loved it, did some exercises, coloured in Jesus on the cross at Easter. But my father kind of encouraged me to question everything. And I really like that. And, I read somewhere that atheist people with no imagination, I think that's true, because I'm like, you've got to believe in fucking something. Like now when I meet an atheist, I'm like, hang on, what do you mean? You don't believe in anything? Like, what the fuck is that? How is that a way to live your life? I don't care what you believe in, to be fair. I just want you to believe in something, And so we were talking about she said to me, what are your principles, your spiritual principles? And I said, well, I've got 5 that I talked about in my energy book. And the first one is that everything happens to me for a reason. Happens for me. Everything happens for me for a reason. So rather than to me, it's for me. And I really like the idea of that, because it's like when something happens, I think, oh, fuck, okay, that's not ideal, but it must be happening for me. And it's useful. I think it's really useful. Like I remember when I was we called it 7th form. Some of you will call it year 13. And I applied to go on a scholarship overseas. And I really, 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 really wanted it. Now, I had a pretty privileged fucking life where I'd pretty much always got what I wanted. And then the scholarship came up. I applied. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're so going to get in. You're so going to get in. There was about 6 people in 3 spots or something. And everyone kept saying to me, oh, you'll definitely get in for sure, which wasn't really helpful when I didn't get in because it was fucking humiliating. I remember just being so mortified, so embarrassed that I hadn't been chosen. And I was really stuck in what will people think. And I remember thinking, God, everyone's going to be so mortified. Like my parents will be kind of mortified, and my teachers and I had all these people wrote reviews and references for me and all this shit. Anyway, in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I, had some other friends that went away on those trips and it didn't go so well for them. And it had a fairly weird impact on their lives. And I'm so grateful to this day that didn't go that didn't work out the way I wanted it to, because the way I wanted it to work actually wasn't for my highest good. And I feel like the universe saved me from that. So at the time, it felt like the worst thing in the world. But in hindsight, it was perfect. So much of life is perfect. The shitty bit is we don't know, right? We just don't know until later. And then you think, So sometimes not getting what you want can be such a blessing. And I think there's always a gift in a disaster. Like when my beautiful friend's husband died, it was like fucking horrific. This was one of the coolest men I knew, with, a dedicated family man, incredible at his job. Like just the world really needed him. And we were all like, what the fuck? Why couldn't you take one of the duds? There's so many duds on the street. But, even in that, there's been some blessings. Like I've watched her children just level up. And they would have been extraordinary, obviously, whether their dad was here or not. But they just grew up and became incredible. And it was amazing to watch. My friend just grew and just fucking was so resilient and so incredible and has become an example that people go, fuck, I want to be like you. And it's like, you know what? She came, literally rose out of the ashes. Like that was shit, man. Her life got burnt down. But so much amazing has come out of it. She's so amazing. And it's awful. And, no one wants to lose beautiful people, but we have to believe that there is a greater force in charge, I think. I think there's, that's very hard to say when there's so much pain in the world, but I do like the idea that things happen for us rather than against us. And I think generally that's a good buzz. I'll always be okay is another one, which I think regardless of what happens to me, I'll always be okay. because I always have been. And I think I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I might be sad. I might be angry. I might be in pain. I might be hurt, but I'll be okay. And I can handle hurt and pain and sadness because I'm built for that shit, right? Like I'm okay. And when you think about all the times in your life you thought, if that happened, I wouldn't be okay. Look at you being okay. Right? We're more amazing than we realize, humans. So my third belief is that I'm guided, and I love the idea of being guided. And I sort of think of, imagine you had a little string tied to the center of your chest, like to the middle of your bra or something, and it's always pulling you along, and it gives you a little yank every now and then. You think, all right, well, I'll go over there. I feel like I'm being guided gently by something bigger than me, and I trust it. Like Louise Hay calls it her inner ding. I just call it my thread. I'm being pulled by my thread, and I like the idea of being guided along by something, like as if someone, when you dance with a good dance partner and they have their hand in your back and you can feel which way to go by the pressure of their hand. I feel like the universe has their hand in the center of my back, and that's bloody useful to believe. I also believe in free will, and so while I believe that things happen for a reason and there's something bigger than me in charge, I also love the idea that I can do what I want and I can choose, and that I do have a soul contract, but I can choose. I can make a decision, and we all have moments in our lives where we get to make a decision, and sometimes you make the wrong decision. But that's okay. You can make another decision later, right? And it's a learning decision. And I don't really believe in failure. I believe in either we succeed or we learn. They're the only two options. I really like the idea of that. And when I believe I can do what I want, I have a lot of agency and a lot of energy. So I feel energized because I can do what I want. And sometimes I think, oh, fuck, would someone, for the love of God, just tell me what to do because I'm tired. And I think, well, that's not very energizing, Lisa, is it? So I can do what I want is a very big belief. And then my fifth one is that I'm an endless source of energy and love. And believing that is really useful because you can't run out if you're an endless source. So I give a lot of love out into the world, and I believe I've got lots to give, and I have a lot of energy, and I need a lot of energy because I love a big life. I love a big life, And I remember I wrote in my energy book about my son. When I was pregnant with my daughter, my eldest son said to me, Mum, will you still love me as much when the baby comes? And I remember thinking, fuck, that's a big question. And this is also a child who asked me once whether whales could go under the country or whether they had to go round. Could they go under New Zealand, or do whales have to go all the way around? I thought, what a fucking question. Interesting child. Interesting adult, to be fair. But, I thought this was a really good question. Will I be able to love you? And I sort of said, it just came to me on the spot, and I said, oh yes, so when a mummy has a baby, her heart grows bigger, and so you'll always have all of my heart, but there'll be more heart there for Ruby. And he was like, oh, that's cool. And he used to say to me, oh, you still love me, eh, Mum, the same? And I was like, yeah, I love you with all my big heart. And he was like, yeah, and you've got another heart for Ruby. And I was like, yep. And it was really cute. That was a concern for him, which is kind of cute. But I think believing we're an endless source of love, I believe the more we love, the more we love. And the more we love, the more we get loved. And just being love, that's our job. Being love. Imagine just being, what would you do if you were being love? If you loved yourself, if you loved your people, if you loved your life, if you loved your world. That's my next book. I'm writing a book about that because I'm like, I want to know I want to write about how do you love people you don't like? How do you find love when life's tough? Where do you find love? Where do you generate your love? I love those questions. And how do you love yourself when you might not like parts of yourself? I had to, really pull myself apart and look at all the parts of myself and which parts I loved and which parts I didn't love so much, and then make peace with those parts. And you either accept them or you fix them. That's pretty much all you can do, right? And often we definitely can't fix other people, so then we have to accept them or not. That's a big call. That's another book. But there you go. So they're my spiritual beliefs. There's the 5 tenets of Lisa O'Neill, which is everything happens for me. I'll always be okay. I'm guided. I can do what I want. and I'm an endless source of energy and love. There you go. Much love to you. Bye.